Hello. We're starting over here today. No, we're not. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the What Fills Your Cup podcast. I am your host, Riley Alexander, and today we are going to be talking all about relationships. Who invited the love doctor? Not me. I am not the love doctor, and you will understand why as this episode continues. But no, I don't know if I'm actually the best person to be getting relationship advice from because my track record is quite awful. Quite awful, quite not fantabulous, but that's okay because it was all about the learning experiences that those relationships brought, which is what we're going to be talking about in today's episode. I am actually really excited about this one because a whole part of the solo episodes are also taking you guys through my personal experiences and what has worked and what hasn't worked for me. Given that Valentine's Day is coming up, and for all of my single friends out there, I thought it would be interesting to just sit down and talk about relationships, the ups, the downs, the in-betweens, dating in your 20s, all of the above, and I'm just excited to sit down with you guys and give you my perspective on those topics. I did want to start with talking about dating in your 20s because I think it is such a learning curve and experience, and also finding out what you like and what you don't like, and all of the things that you need from a partner and how you can be as a partner, and learning about love languages. I think those are all very important tools and things that everyone in their life gets to figure out at some point in their lives. However, we're going to take it back a bit. We're going to take it back. Guess who's back? My relationship life and my relationship history, which honestly is pretty traumatizing. But again, it got me to where I am now, which is in a very healthy relationship. We'll get there. We're not going to jump ahead. But I did want to start off with talking about how I have dated in my 20s. I am someone that has very much always been a relationship person. I'm not going to talk about my high school relationships because those were so young and so not real. Throughout high school, I felt as though I was always with someone or had a boyfriend. And then I didn't have one in grade 12, but after grade 12 was my very first serious relationship. I think that was the first person that I truly felt I loved. I'm saying felt that I loved because looking back now, I very much understand that that was not love. I don't think I've actually ever been in love until my current boyfriend, who is, in my eyes, the real and true definition of love. I think a lot of my past relationships were lust, and there is a difference between lust and love, and I think I was blinded by what I thought love was at those times, to now understanding and being in a relationship where I am 100% in love with my partner, and I know that they love me, and knowing what love actually is. I think in my early 20s, before I started dating my current boyfriend, that was not love. None of that was love. The way I was treated, the way I was treating other people, the way that I was being shown love, that was not love. Because who I'm with now, that is true unconditional love. I don't want to get into too much detail, obviously, about my past relationships. I would never, ever, ever come online and bash anyone's name or talk about someone in a negative way. But I will say, I'm talking about my experiences. This is all my thoughts and feelings, and that goes for every solo episode. Every solo episode is talking about my thoughts, my feelings, and relationships, especially in my life, have not always been easy. So circling back to the first person I thought I loved, We dated on and off for almost 2 years. At that time in my life when I was dating that person, I was very insecure. I was probably at one of the lowest points of my self-esteem and how I felt about myself. I was at rock bottom. I did not know anything about self-worth. I did not know anything about respect in myself and how to treat myself with respect. Also, boundary setting. I felt as though that was a reflection of that relationship. There was no respect. There was no self-worth within myself in that relationship. And I was being told I was loved when in reality I was getting treated the complete opposite of what love actually truly is. When that relationship had ended, I felt so lost. I was so reliant on that person for the dopamine I was getting from that relationship, or I want to almost say the adrenaline I was getting from that relationship. It became addicting. And it was addicting because it was unhealthy. We were constantly on and off. We were constantly arguing, bickering, not getting along at all, honestly. We were not each other's person. We tried to force something that should never have been forced to begin with. It started off on a really rocky note as well. And again, I was just so insecure, and I was getting attention from someone that I thought was so handsome and so kind and cool and fun to be around, that I was blinded by the idea of who I thought this person was instead of being in love with who that person actually was. Now, I'm using that example because I felt as though in my relationships after that one had ended, I was looking for those unhealthy patterns because the first person I truly cared about did all those unhealthy things and all those unhealthy habits, that I thought that that was what love was. I thought it was constant up and down, and I thought it was fighting and getting back together and breaking up and fixing it and just overall not being healthy. It was not healthy. That is not healthy. I really want you to know that breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together, if it didn't work the first time, it's probably not going to work the second or third or fourth or fifth time. It's probably time to just close that chapter and find someone that is better suited for you. After that relationship, I was still very insecure. I was even more insecure than I probably thought I could ever be, because I wanted to be with that person, but I knew it was best to not be. And like I said, in my relationships after, I was looking for those unhealthy patterns. In the few relationships I had after that person, I felt as though I was the unhealthy partner. I was looking for things to get upset about. I was looking for that adrenaline and dopamine rush when it's not dopamine at all. It didn't make me happy. But I was looking for the reasons that we could fix our relationship because it brought electricity. I don't know if that's even the right word for it, but it brought something there. When in reality, your relationship should just be something, because you love them and you want to spend time with them and you want to treat them with respect because they treat you with respect. And I think as well that that relationship that was on and off, that really kind of triggered all of the unhealthy habits, brought out the worst parts of me. And I think that that's hard to admit, obviously, because I hated the person I was from the ages of 18 to 22. I do not agree with half the shit I did, if I'm being honest, at those ages, or how I treated people. And a lot of the times I feel as though that it was a form of protection, in the sense of I wanted to cut people off before they could cut me off. And that's so unhealthy. That is such an unhealthy mindset, and that's so not what I stand by anymore at all. And I lost a lot of friends, and I had a lot of not functioning relationships, or healthy relationships, I should say, at those ages and at that period of time in my life. It wasn't until I fully just stopped dating for a few years. I took 2 years off of just no one talked to me because I knew I was not a healthy partner, that I actually realized I needed to go to a lot of therapy and a lot of counseling to heal those wounds that another person had triggered or created or made me feel. And I took a break from dating as a whole because I got advice and it really resonated with me. And the advice was, you have to love yourself before you can love someone else. And I really want you to sit there and digest that, because that is advice that truly changed my life. I was having all of these failed relationships because I did not love myself. I was insecure, I would get jealous, I would react, I would not communicate in a healthy way, and I needed to learn how to have some self-respect and also learn how to respect other people. Getting out of a toxic relationship or an unhealthy relationship and breaking those patterns for your next partner is so hard. I'm not going to sit here and sugarcoat it and be like, oh, you got this. Like, no, babe, it takes time. It does take time. You also need to heal that before entering another relationship. I feel as though when I was single and when I was just enjoying my time and learning about what I loved and who I loved and the type of person I wanted to be with, and still dating, but obviously not anything serious, because I was just like, okay, I like this about this person, but I also don't really like these things about this person, but the things that I now know I like in someone, I can try to look for in another person that has other boxes that I really admire and am intrigued by and want to be around. Being single is not a negative at all. I loved being single. I obviously, if my boyfriend is watching this, I love being in a relationship, do not get me wrong, but I also learned to like my alone time and liked being alone. And I had never had that before since grade 8. Grade 8 was when I got my first boyfriend, and I dated from grades 8 to 22. Again, I do not look at being single as a negative at all. I think that it is a time in your life that you should cherish and grow, learn about yourself, go traveling, do whatever you want, work full time, buy something that you've been saving up for. At the end of the day, you're never going to get that time alone again. So when you do have it, just cherish it and enjoy it. And it is hard when we're constantly surrounded by relationships and seeing other people be in the happiest relationships of their lives, which is the hard part about social media and relationships. And especially Valentine's Day, especially around Love Month is what I like to call it. Because you are getting bombarded with all this relationship stuff and you're like, I'm all alone. What am I going to do? What you're going to do is pull up your socks and remind yourself that you are a badass and you, by yourself, with yourself, deserve to treat yourself the way you would treat your future partner, which is with respect, which is with kindness, care, love, admiration, communicating healthily to yourself and what your needs are, as well as to others around you. I loved being in that era of my life, and I had to learn to love myself before I could love someone else. Truly love someone else, I want to make note of. And when I was least expecting it, I met my now current partner, who I have been with for almost 2 years now. And I can say I am so proud to call him my partner. And if you can't say that about your partner, then I hate to break it to you, babe, but you should probably break up. You should be able to be in a room full of people, and you should be able to say, I am so proud to call, in my case, my boyfriend, my boyfriend. And it's the way you talk about your partner when they're not there that really shows how you feel about them. How you talk about your partner to your friends is also very important. If you're constantly going to your friends nagging about them when they're not there and saying, well, they did this and this bothered me, but that's okay. It's like, no, you should be telling your friends how good things are. And if things are difficult, you should be able to say, we resolved it. This is what happened, but we figured it out and everything is a-okay. Not, I don't know what to do. They cheated on me again, or I went through their phone. If you're going through your partner's phone, Lord have mercy, child, please don't do that. That is so unhealthy to do. Or constantly checking their location. Like, have some trust. If your relationship is not built on trust, then why are you with them? If you can't trust your partner, if they go out for a boys' night or girls' night, why are you with them? You should be able to let them have their independence as well. And that is also something that makes a very healthy relationship, is not losing your independence. In my opinion, a healthy relationship should be built on healthy communication, honesty, trust, support. You want to see your partner succeed as much as they want to see you succeed. I think that's very important. And I also think just being with a best friend. Your partner should be your best friend and someone that you love to spend time with. And if anything I said in this episode is making you second guess your relationship, I'm not sitting here saying dump your partner, you should be single. But I will say, you should really evaluate what it means to be a good partner and what it means for you to be a good partner. No relationship is perfect. I want you to remember that too. No relationship is sunshine, rainbows, and lollipops 24/7. But I will say it should be sunshine, rainbows, lollipops 95% of the time. And if it's not, then you should probably date yourself instead. Great podcast, by the way, if you have never heard of that. Now, I just kind of wanted to talk about relationships in this episode because, like I said, I have had my fair share of ups and downs with relationships. And I think that it all circles back to respecting yourself and loving yourself enough that if it isn't working, you can walk away. And I think that forcing something is where a lot of people just want to stay with their partner because it's comfortable, it's easy, you're scared to date again, and dating's scary. I'm not going to sit here and lie, but it's also fun. Romanticize dating. Make it something that you're enjoying, something that you like to do. Go on a date once a week. Go on dates with your friends more. You'll meet someone at a coffee shop or you'll meet someone when it's meant to be, but don't try to force anything either, because that's when you're just probably going to fall back into that unhealthy cycle. And we don't want that. None of us want that. I don't want that for you. You don't want it for you. You wouldn't want it for me. I just wanted to remind you guys that if you are single come this Valentine's Day, or you're single, or you're talking to someone, or you're dating someone, you could be across the board. You could be with someone, you could not be with someone. But I want to remind you that you need to love yourself before you can love anyone else. Even if you are in a relationship, you still have to make sure that you are respecting and loving yourself as much as you are respecting and loving your partner as well. Not to lose your independence, to be a good friend, to be a good family member, to be a good partner. You have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself and loving yourself unconditionally because you deserve it. Before I sign off on this episode, I really wanted to pull in a little segment. And I don't know if I'm going to do this every week, but it is one that I got the question on my What Fills Your Cup Instagram page. And I made a poll or a question box. And I said, if you have any questions that you would like for me to talk about in the solo episodes, please write in and I would love to talk about them. And I had someone write in a question, and the question was dating advice for men as a woman. Now, I don't know if this is going to be an answer that you're going to want to hear. Okay? I'm going to be honest, but it is something that I personally really admire in people. And when I was single, it's something I looked for. And that is confidence. I think confidence is one of the most attractive things that anyone can have and hold. If you walk into any room with your head held high and you bring a beautiful energy with you and you're kind and respectful to the people that are in that room and you're confident in your personality and who you are and what you bring to the table, I think that is one of the most attractive things anyone can have. Because you're confident within yourself. You love yourself enough that whoever comes and goes doesn't faze you. It doesn't bother you, because at the end of the day, you have yourself still, and that fills your cup. That makes you happy because you have you. A partner is not you. A partner is a bonus part of your life, but they should never become your identity. And if you love yourself enough and you have that confidence, people that come and go or didn't work out, that's okay. It's not going to faze you because you are holding yourself with such character and growth and strength that none of that will faze you. I think as far as like, if we're just going to talk about like at a bar or whatever, I will throw in read the room. Make sure we're reading the room, right? If you're talking to a woman and she's not really into it, don't try to force it. Don't try to push it. And I think with confidence is you can read the room and you can say, you're not into it. I'm good. That's fine. That's fine. I'll go talk to someone else. I will go meet someone else, or I'll meet someone new. And in terms of trying to meet new people, always be more interested than interesting. Ask questions, get to know someone. It will show them that you care. It will also show them, oh, this person is actually interested in my life. Everyone likes to talk about themselves, okay? I learned that in school, actually. Communications, putting that degree to use. But I will say, being more interested than interesting has gotten me conversations that I never thought I would be having with some people, and I love them. I love getting to know new people. I think it's one of my favorite things ever. Everyone has a story. Everyone has reasons why they are the way they are. We're all programmed differently, and we all have different stories, and I think that is a beautiful thing to get to know and learn. So I think the advice I would give if you're looking to start dating or you're wanting to date but you don't know where to start with loving yourself and gain that confidence. Work on yourself, be the best version of you that you can possibly be, and that way when you walk into a room and you have a conversation with someone that you are potentially interested in, they're gonna think, wow, this is one confident person. They are carrying themselves with such grace. I need to be around this person more. I need a sliver of what they've got. And I think it will work. And I also think reading the room, come on, we got to circle back to that one, because if someone's not into it, they're not into it. And we don't want to force anything, okay? That's just going to give you the ick. I am going to end the episode on that note, but I really do hope that this episode provides a little bit of insight, some friendly reminders, some dating tips, and just a reminder of how cool you are. And don't let anyone ever convince you that you're not, and don't ever let anyone convince you that you are not worthy of true love and care, because you do deserve it. Thank you guys so very much for watching another episode of the What Fills Your Cup podcast. Do not forget to subscribe to the What Fills Your Cup YouTube channel. We are almost at 1,000 subscribers, and that makes my heart so happy. High School Riley is internally screaming right now, and I just can't wait to see this page grow. As well as, do not forget to follow the What Fills Your Cup podcast Instagram page. I do lots of questions and ask you guys some insight on what topics you want to hear. Maybe you could write in on what you want to hear me yap about on Wednesdays. And lastly, if you have not heard it today, I love you. And do not forget to tell someone you love them, because you never know who needs it a little extra. Bye, you guys. I will see you on Sunday for another episode.